The scream cut through the quiet afternoon like a blade through cloth, sharp and desperate, echoing across the sunlit trees just as 12-year-old Armin Halim stepped off the dusty bike path and into the clearing. What he saw froze his breath mid-chest. A massive man, broad as a truck and tattooed from neck to knuckles, sat slumped against an old oak, his wrists bound with a rusted chain that bit into his skin. A black leather vest lay torn at his side, the unmistakable winged skull patch catching the daylight. The man's eyes, usually feared on highways and in roadside bars, were glassy with pain and something far worse than anger, fear. This was not a story Armin had ever imagined stepping into on a warm afternoon meant for skipping stones and racing clouds. If you believe kindness can change even the darkest moments, take a second right now to like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel Kindness Journal, where second chances still matter. Armin was small for his age, all elbows and sun-browned skin, with hair that refused to lie flat no matter how much water he splashed on it. He lived with his grandmother on the edge of town, where the woods began and secrets seemed to settle like dust. His parents had been gone for years, lost to a highway accident that left him cautious and quiet, the kind of boy who noticed broken things and wondered how they once worked. He had been riding home from the corner store, bread tucked into his backpack, when the scream reached him. Every lesson screamed at him to turn back. The man was a Hell's Angel, a name whispered with fear by adults who crossed the street when engines roared. But another lesson tugged harder, one taught by his grandmother while mending old shirts in the sun, that no one deserves to be left to die alone. The clearing smelled of sap and warm earth. Sunlight filtered through leaves, painting the ground with shifting patterns. The man's chest rose shallowly. There was blood on his forearm where the chain rubbed raw, and a dark bruise spread along his jaw. Armin felt his heart hammering against his ribs, a wild bird trying to escape. He scanned the woods for movement, imagining shadows stepping forward with cruel smiles. Nothing stirred. The afternoon was calm, birds chirping as if this moment didn't exist. The contrast made it worse. The man's boots were scuffed, his jeans torn, and the chain wrapped twice around the trunk, secured with a heavy lock that looked older than Armin's grandmother. Whoever did this had planned it, had wanted time to pass unnoticed. Armin swallowed and moved closer, every step an argument with fear. The man's eyes flicked toward him, focusing with effort. The reputation of bikers loomed large in Armin's mind, stories of violence and anger, of men who laughed at pain. But this man looked broken in a way Armin recognized. He had seen it in his grandmother's eyes on nights when storms rattled the windows and memories crept in. The man tried to shift, failed, and a low sound escaped him that was not a threat but a plea. Armin's hands shook as he reached into his backpack and pulled out the bottle of water he had bought. He hesitated only a second before lifting it to the man's lips, careful and slow, watching as cracked lips closed around the rim and relief softened the hard lines of his face. The boy's mind raced through possibilities. He could run to town and get help, but the path was long and his legs were short. He could call the police, but his phone was old and often lost signal among the trees. He could leave and pretend he never saw this. The thought tasted bitter. Armin noticed the lock again, its surface pitted with rust. His grandfather's old shed flashed into his mind, the tools hanging in neat rows, including bolt cutters that had once snapped through stubborn wire like it was nothing. The shed was not far, a short ride back along the path. The risk was enormous. If the man was dangerous, freeing him could be a mistake that changed everything. But the alternative felt like betrayal of something deeper than rules. Armin left the clearing at a run, heart pounding louder than the cicadas. The ride back felt endless, the path blurring beneath his tires as sunlight flickered through branches. He crashed into the shed door, fumbled with the latch, and grabbed the heavy bolt cutters, the metal